Good evening. Welcome to this special edition on Nigeria's 59th independence anniversary. In less than 2 days, Nigeria will be 59. Now, when somebody is 59 years old, you know what that means. He's already a very married man or woman, has children, and there's a good family or business entrepreneur of sorts. So things are moving well. But when a nation attains that age, some say it's considered as young, but is also developing very well. Nigeria is not young. 59 cannot be young because there are other countries that are younger than Nigeria at a younger age. So how far has Nigeria come? In recent times, what we've been worried about is the fact that Nigeria has been confronted with all kinds of perceptions. You know, we talk about perception of the mind, perception of fake news, perception of pull him down syndrome, perception of leadership question, all kinds of things. But you see, whether we like it or not, you and I and the people with me in the studio will have to face the reality of what is befalling Nigeria. Are things moving well? We're not so sure. Will things get better? We hope so. But what is today Nigeria is what we want to debate now. So I have with me in the studio two beautiful individuals, Mrs. Oluremi Adekoya, who has spent 15 years in corporate working experience, spanning various organizations, and then also has also been involved in, we might call it, beautifying men and women, especially women, a la fashion. So, but then she's currently a partner at a trading company with investments in upstream oil and gas, and she's happily married with an adorable daughter, and that is Mrs. Oluremi Adekoya. Now, the other one is a lawyer, is a broadcaster, is a public commentator, and his name is Mr. Ayodeji Eichie. Now, these two individuals are Nigerians like you and I, and they're going to look at how far we have come and how far we intend to go. So, welcome to the studio and welcome to the program.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
for having me.
Okay, now, Mrs. Adekoya,
Yes, please.
Nigeria is an interesting place.
Yeah.
So, based on what I've said so far, what's your current thoughts about the situation in Nigeria today?
Good evening. The truth is, Nigeria's current state is in shells. Let's deceive ourselves. But I believe in Nigeria, not only because I'm a Nigerian, but because I have future plans, for this country. We are gradually disintegrating. We're doing all sorts of things that, query your existence. And so the youths, the ones coming up behind us, are actually not confident. They're always willing to check out at the earliest opportunity. But you see, the situation of Nigeria, we keep saying, is a function of leadership. But leadership is in categories. As an individual, I should be leading also. Because the current state of things, we can't now, the problem has become too big for whoever we say is our leader. Too big. So we need to redirect our energy to individual leadership. That's the way I'll put it.
Okay.
You
so
just
you can be a leader in your own home,
in your own home,
business,
and then it begins to reflect in your community. It begins to reflect, and then people, you start giving people hope. Your children begin to know you. Oh, this is what my parents are known for. They won't accept this. Even as little as driving in the car and maybe throwing things out of the window and all of that, you must consciously begin to, redirect. We need to retrace our steps. That's it. Because,
I like the dynamic approach to your thoughts. Okay,
yes, we need to retrace, because the problem is now so big, and it didn't just start yesterday. You know, it's something that accumulated over time. So for us to get back on track, we need to have a mind shift. We need to refocus. And then we need to, I'm not saying we should de-emphasize holding our leaders responsible, because there's a part that they even need to play even in the middle of this problem that we have found ourselves. There's a big role that they need to play. But we must now add to the fact that we are leaders in our own right, and so we must exhibit leadership in different ways that we can.
Okay. Well, Barrister Eichie, Ayodeji Eichie, yes. Now, you heard what she said.
Yes, I did.
What's your thoughts?
I'm going to look at it from a slightly different perspective.
Okay.
I think currently Nigeria is running, in my view, a dysfunctional system. I would liken it to being in intensive care unit as we are presently. The question is, 59 years ago, what was the Nigerian dream?
Okay.
Are we still holding on to that dream, our forefathers, and those that pushed for the Nigerian independence? Are we still holding on to that dream today as we speak? Or is there a disconnect between the idea of and the dream that our leaders at that time had about Nigeria and where we are right now as a people? And once there's a disconnect between what the vision is and the reality is, I mean, the result in itself will only be disastrous. And that's the case where we are in Nigeria right now. I will not completely also say that it's not important that we should hold our leaders accountable. Leadership, everything about Nigeria and the success of any venture in itself rests on leadership. Leadership gives direction. It gives inspiration. It gives hope. It gives vision. And as it is today, all these qualities that I've mentioned about leadership is lacking in the Nigerian dream or in the Nigerian leadership qualities. Nigeria has leaders that do not appreciate these qualities. And we need to get to a point in this country where we need to ask ourselves that question: what do we want from our leaders?
I have a question that will throw all of us off balance.
Okay.
Do you, any of you, want this country to disintegrate?
Capital, no.
Capital, no.
Yes.
Okay. Yes? Barrister?
It will be a no, but with a caveat.
Okay. What's the caveat?
Once we're able to align all the nationalistic dreams together. Now, the Igbos, on one hand, have an idea of what the Igbo ethnic group should be like.
Okay.
The Yorubas also have a different idea of what the Yoruba ethnic group should be like, and their vision and the development approach. And the Hausas also have the same thing. That's the north and the south. Yeah. But once there's no cohesion to that mix, of course, eventually at the end of the day, we would only ask ourselves that question.
But before even that time, the British came here, colonized the country, and then partitioned into regional segments. We had the north, the west, and the east, and then the Midwest. Now, today we're hearing sentiments that are gravitating towards such consciousness. But before that time, there was the fact that they could all come together and unify and make, you say, numbers, huge numbers can give you power, right?
Yeah.
Now, we seem to be suddenly becoming aware, more aware of where I come from, even to my bedroom, as more important than the entire nationhood being a patriotic Nigerian. Now, why did I say I was asking that question? Because everything that's been happening, you will find that at the end of the day, somebody wants to develop or defend his major interests first. Is it possible that we can think nationalistic without thinking selfish?
Well, we can. It's difficult because of where we are now, and I think it's a root problem, a foundation problem. You know, it almost seems we don't have an identity. As a child, when you begin to know yourself, what do they tell you about Nigeria? What do they say you are? How well have they painted or committed, you know, the laws of the country?
So the educational curriculum could have been better
Yes,
defined.
because for the developed countries, that's what they've done. That's what makes you proud. That's why you don't think about yourself alone, because you're thinking, oh, they did it for me. The reason why I'm living today and I'm able to plug in when I started this business is because some people thought about the future. And so, because they planned for the future, I'm now the future that some people planned for at that time. And so that's why it's easy for me to plug in. So if I now believe in that same system, it means that I must also think about the future for those ones coming behind me.
Okay.
And
now, that's interesting. What is your thought based on the question I asked you and what she said?
Okay, I'd like to take it up from the educational curriculum.
Yes.
It will interest you that in my days, which wasn't too long ago anyway, in school.
Well, your grade defies the logic. Okay, yes.
No, because usually when you use that phrase in my days, it appears, but it's different.
Years ago.
And you would go to school and the question will be, it's Yoruba studies if you are in the Southwest. If you're in the East, it's Igbo studies. And if you're in the North, it's of course Hausa language. And the question is, that is segregation in itself.
Yeah.
When in itself it should be the history of Nigeria.
Okay.
And not what language you should speak because you live or reside in that particular part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And
okay. Yeah, good.
And of course, that also explains why it's a foundational problem.
Okay, we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we'll pick it from where Barrister just stopped. That foundational problem and the thinking of ethnicity. We'll be back after the break.
I want to see a Nigeria that works. I want to see a Nigeria that whenever I leave this country, that I'll be proud of that passport.
Lagos is a proof that Nigeria can work.
Accountability is not part of our system because nobody has demanded it. And until you demand something, it won't be given.
When young people leave the shores of this country and they go overseas, they spread their wings, they excel. So there must be something fundamentally wrong with our space. Yeah. It's been taken over by demonic, evil people.
There's no way anyone can go overseas and see how things work and then come back on that plane, and as you are landing in Lagos or in Abuja or wherever, no, we have to be real. Yeah. As you land, you go, okay, welcome home. We love our country. There's no doubt about it. But you land and you know, here we go.
It pays the strong political actors to have weak institutions.
You see, it is the politics of the pay pocket, where they deliberately emasculate our people financially, economically, where you have young men whose take-home pay can't take them home.
Thinking of Nigeria, thinking as Nigerians, instead of thinking of as a Western Nigerian or an Eastern Nigerian or a Northern Nigerian, which is more productive, which will help the nation more. Barrister was saying earlier on that people tend to sometimes think East, West, or North, or Hausa, Yoruba, or Igbo. Let's look at it this way. Is it possible I can think without referring to any of those and not be in trouble? Barrister.
I think, the first point of safety is aligning yourself.
Point of safety.
Is aligning yourself first with your ethnic group. That's where Nigeria stands as it is today. Yeah. And that's why you find where a man steals, the first people that rise in his defense are his ethnic stock.
Okay.
They say due process is not followed, the rule of law is not followed, leaving the crux of the matter itself. Is this person, or has this person been found guilty of these charges? I mean, that's the question.
Yeah.
And not, I mean, there's
Not
a
where you come
sequence
from.
to it.
Yes.
There's a sequence to it.
Right.
And if the answer is yes, he has been, then we can ask other questions. But you find that the people that rally around such person at that time are people of his ethnic stock or origin. And then we take to the background the questions of integrity, forthrightness, and the things that should matter to us, and put in the front burner the things that should not even matter, which of course are the ethnic backgrounds and origins of each person.
And that's now
itself.
taking the shine away
That
from
takes
progress.
from the crux of the matter and the development itself.
Okay. Yes, Mrs. Adekoya. Right?
Yes, very true. You know, just taking a cue from what he just said, you know, why would you, you know, when, you know, it is a situation where when such things happen, you apply this rule. And then when in another situation, you apply another rule. There's no standard. There's no standard. Because today, you say, oh, because this man has stolen, and so because when the other person stole, 50 lawyers or sons rose, you know, to defend this person because it's from this part of the country. So why won't you apply that same? So it's a cycle. You want to keep, so when will we stop? When we will continue to do the right thing? We keep referring to, you know, what has happened in the past. And we keep saying we want to move forward. How do we really move forward? If we don't just forget about what has happened in the past and, you know, begin to chart a new course. Now, the people who want to chart the course, they're probably like 10. But the people who are disrupting and destroying the course are like 100. So, I mean, there's no match. Now, and because there's so many loopholes, there are rules that people, in this, today, I still saw people, officials, police officials in van, taking one way.
When they have been told times without number,
When they have
even
been
with
told
publicity.
times, you know, even with publicity,
Wow.
the new, I think the commissioner of police who came out and said, no, there's a new this, and they've been showing us, you know, situations where truly and honestly, they've been, you know, delisting or even taking people's uniform off for doing the wrong thing in the police. But the ones I still saw today are policemen. And so then tomorrow, that is why tomorrow, when a policeman stops you on the way, you first of all size him up by the fact that you know he's just stopping you for something else, not really for the offense you have committed. Because if he was in your shoes, he would be doing something else. So, you know, it's a difficult situation, it's a muddy situation, but we just need to move on. And how do we move on? We need to forget whatever has happened.
How do you forget what has happened?
You know, let me refer to, let's say, Ghana. It's unfortunate that our number cannot allow us. You know, but at times I just think I can go into a place and hope that, you know, the right people, the people that should be abolished, or the people that should be, you know, are in a particular place, and you just get rid of them. And you say, oh, let's have a new Nigeria.
And
but
who are those people?
A lot of our leaders.
That's my point.
A lot of our leaders, because they're the ones we see. They're the ones the young ones are seeing. They're the ones that tell us, oh, this is what we're supposed to do, and we see them doing something else. They're the ones we see that give priority or preference to people that don't even, you know, we still do things like people are doing admission. You're still talking about, what do they call that thing? You say,
Catchment area.
Catchment area. When there are 100, it's so bad that they're on the merit list, there are 100. The school can take only 80. So, and you still say catchment area. So it means that it's already bad that 20 people will be dropped out of the merit list. But out of the remaining 80, you're still going to drop some people because of catchment area. What is catchment area? It's
so
one
actually
Nigeria.
Standards are compromised.
They're compromised all the time.
Okay, before we get to the point where we'll have to really debate this further, I need people to phone in. I think the number is on display on the screen, so all you just need to do, call us and we'll take your suggestions, your questions, your observations, your comments, anything. It's getting hot, yes, because in less than 48 hours, what are we talking about? In fact, less than 36 hours, Seth, we're already 59 years old, okay? And when you are that age, we expect a measure of, heightened progress that will take you to the next level of appreciation. If you're a 59-year-old man, a 30-year-old man with dobale, as the Yorubas would say, even a 50-year-old man will still, curtsy to you. So it means you've reached the age of maturity. But there's a question. We say leadership. Now, there's been a burning issue, the 18,000 naira minimum wage. Many governors say they cannot pay it, or many states. Then the House of Assembly is one. Then you have the National Assembly is another. They're claiming that money being pushed into the National Assembly is a lot more than should be pushed in there. So why are the members of the House of the National Assembly the highest paid in the world, we are told? Is that correct? So some of these things, they're like there are no level playing fields anymore. How can we balance these questions? Your comments, my panel members.
So it also brings us back to the leadership question. They say a people get the government they deserve. Nigeria, just like many other countries, is a social contract. We've given to our leaders our liberties and our rights for good leadership, for want of a better description, service delivery, quality leadership. I mean, we go outside, most of us travel outside the country and we find out things are done. There are consequences to actions. She mentioned the other time about how law enforcement agents, those who are supposed to protect the law and enforce the law, are actually the ones breaking the law. I mean, once there's a situation like that, I mean, the only thing we get is anarchy. I mean, because if one sees the other do one thing, and
okay, we have a caller. Yeah, hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. My name is Florence.
Okay.
And I'm from Ojo.
Okay.
In Lagos, along Balagriwe.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm interested in what the other woman there that saying.
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, clearly.
A lot of things that is happening in Nigeria today, which can you, like I speak now, I asked about children, the graduates, that up to now they have not even gotten a job. And the issue of this thing that they are talking about, the minimum wage, if they said some government cannot pay up to date, since the president has given an order, at least they should be able to do that. They are just putting everybody into, I don't understand. So saying that they cannot pay, I didn't want to say they cannot pay when the presidents have already given an order that they should go ahead and pay all these people. So I don't know why all these things. So they should please help us to talk to them. They should do something about this. And also the youth that are looking for a job here and there. They should do something about it, sir.
Okay.
A lot of things is happening in this country. May God help us.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, you just heard what you just said now, and actually quoted some of the things you said, Mrs. Adekoya. Yes. Go ahead.
So I'm wondering, okay, why can't they pay? The president,
the governor said, okay.
Are we working out of no information? For the presidency to say, oh, this minimum wage has been approved. Are you saying there was no body or, people didn't work it out? They didn't think the treasury of that state would be able to pay? I don't think so. So, everywhere, at every point in time, our leaders are using, there's no level playing ground. In this state, something else operates. And in another state, another thing operates. Why? Minimum wage is a general thing. So why are we saying we cannot pay? And yet, we see people that were voted in to be our leaders, to lead us. And then we see them living in luxury, and then people are suffering. What is the minimum wage in Nigeria?
It's just for people to get by.
To get by.
Yes.
Even the 18,000 we're talking about.
And it is meager. It is not enough. And that brings us to the question of corruption.
Yeah.
The average man is, forgive my language, innately corrupt.
Yeah,
But the point is,
Okay.
Nigeria
Yes.
now only goes Nigeria. Nigeria buys too much.
Nigeria did what? Okay.
but the government should not create that environment that would breed in itself corruption. You give a man that is married, that has a family of 4, 30,000 naira. He has to pay school fees. He has to pay house rent. He needs to give the children pocket money. And I mean, God help him, if his children are in the tertiary institutions,
Yeah.
I mean, it's double. How does he get by? If he doesn't have to cut corners to fend for his
Okay.
family.
We have another caller. Hello.
Hello?
Good evening. How are you?
God bless you.
God bless you too. Go ahead.
Yes. My name is Joseph Imadejin from Redemption Camp.
Okay.
We can access troops in this country. There will be always be anarchy.
You think so?
Most of these civilized world, they pay allowances to the lawmakers.
Okay.
And you see most of all these lawmakers due to a quota system. Some are not even educated. They go there, they just be looking at pages of newspaper without knowing the contents. And see what they are earning. The so-called minimum wage, they cannot pay it in states. They have to start, if you are to play on level ground, they have to reduce their salaries and allowances so that there will be even distribution. So that the common man can feel the impact of their workforce in Syria. And Buhari was known as a man of integrity during the military. Why can't he implement it now? He can't tell us that he don't know what is happening in the system.
Okay.
And if he cannot do otherwise, if he cannot say what is wrong, we should resign. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, from what both of you have said and what the callers are including, especially this last call. Now, there's a catch-22 in the way politics is managed in Nigeria.
Okay.
Because he said as a military man, he was a man of integrity. As a president, a political figure now, he may not have that kind of free hand to operate. So what does it then mean? That corruption is being allowed to fetter so much that it's affecting the way the country should be run. The man who is fighting corruption, his hands are now tied. He's not able to really fight it the way he would want to because of the... I'm not answering the question. I'm making an observation.
And of course, what is political structure? That's the question. The Bible says, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? If the president's political structure, forgive me, is defective in itself, having a conflagration of different individuals, parties, ideals, philosophies, in one same mix, of course, there's little or far that he can go. At the end of the day, even if he has good intentions, I mean, the people that are behind him, the people that have put him there and have made him succeed as president, do not share the same vision, do not share the same qualities. And so it brings to question, how can he succeed with such people? It's going to be very difficult for him to do that.
Well, here you are.
I believe that he created that difficulty, in my own opinion. As an experienced elder statesman, he's an elder statesman in Nigeria because he's over 70 and he's been around for a while. He's been president before. He has tested power in the days of the military and he has put his hand into politics, you know, years in, year out. When you think you can, you know, overtake or overturn certain situations or people when you get to power, this is what usually happens. I am very clear in my mind that the president knew the people he was, the structure that was on ground. But in his mind, he thought he would be able to either, you know, tweak it or turn it another way. But you see, you cannot be, there's nobody called, you can't stand alone. You were made by, even as a human being, you have body parts. Your head alone cannot survive without the neck. The hand has its own purpose. So in a party, in the structure, there are different people doing different things. If you really want to move this country forward, you must remain with the people with the same ideology, even in funding. Who puts his money down and they don't get returns? How do they fund the politics of this nation? Those are the issues. So in the process of now trying to get things right, some people will be sabotaging it. They will. Because you can't get there and now think, oh, I'm the Lord and the master. Because democracy does not, reside with just one person's decision.
And on that note, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, which way forward? That's the point. When we come back. Go on. So what do you hope to become when you grow up?
I want to become a medical doctor.
Wow.
So that my people don't have to travel abroad. I want to become one of the best doctors in the world.
Sometimes when you do things, you don't know the impact it puts in people's life. When the time comes, if God's will, and I become popular, I will fight for the people of Ajegunle.
It's all a question of positiveness. If you believe, it will be.
I love that. I love that.
Sometimes there are people who have paid their dues, you understand, and then people don't acknowledge them, like they don't give them recognition.
They deserve some accolades.
Accolades.
I paid my dues,
Accolades, baby.
Some accolades.
Accolades, baby.
Well, they said Nigeria deserves some accolade, but we need to really put our acts together so that things can move in the direction that our children should take over from us, effortlessly. We've seen somebody make that observation today at a book launch by Joseph Edgar, where the person said, and I think it was Bashorun J.K. Randu, said he's worried that the debt that Nigeria borrows money now, they're not paying back, and so the youth of tomorrow will now take over and carry the load of that debt into their own. No, that if we borrow money, we should pay back. That's a very big one. Now, is there a level playing field for making that possible? Who will pick it first? okay, Mrs. Adekoya first this time.
Okay. Well, it's a difficult one, but in moving forward, actually, if we don't create that level playing field, we can't actually move forward.
Yeah.
We must provide a level playing field so that, things can begin to work the way we want it to work. And one of the reasons why I believe so much in this country is, I've tried to, look at other countries, and I see that Nigeria is a country that is blessed both in human resources, natural resources. We don't even have disasters, natural disasters. We don't even have those things. And our people go out there, and there's hardly any country in this world that you don't find a Nigerian. And we always prosper on other lands. It means that there's just something about us. When we put our hearts to something, it just must work. It just must happen. So putting a level playing field, because already, let's assume I'm Yoruba now, you're married to Igbo. Even in the house you live, your next door neighbor, you're Yoruba, your next door neighbor is Hausa. That's the first person that you would reach when there's a problem.
And that's how our children are actually being brought up.
Yes. You are thinking, oh, I'm Yoruba, and so my security must be Yoruba. And so when something breaks out, maybe there's a fire outbreak, your neighbor should be looking at you, as a matter of fact.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Good evening.
Yes, what's your name?
Yeah, my name is Regina Oladele.
Okay, where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Ogun State.
Okay.
Yeah, my part view of this discussion this time, because I don't know exactly what these so-called leaders are doing. When many of them are living in a Nigerian life, and for them to pay just the minimum into 30,000 naira will be a problem.
Okay, sorry, there was a distorting sound there, but we heard what you said, and I think that makes enough sense. He's worried that, you know, some leaders are claiming that they cannot pay the 30,000 naira minimum wage, and he cannot understand that, which is the point you also made much earlier.
Yes.
Okay, right. Let's make more calls, but yes, let's continue for you.
So, you know, I mean, the level playing field is going to work for everybody. You know, there's no need for discrimination. There's no need to say, oh, I'm from here, because we're already mixed. We're already intertwined. We're married to different culture, different, you know, we find ourselves, the NYSC program, you are in.
It's a brilliant program.
It's a brilliant program. And so many people get there, meet their future husbands, they marry, they either find a job there or they come back home. For God's sake, you'll be away from your family for a whole year. Even if something happens, before you call your parents or you call your sister, you know, the people they have already sorted you out.
Yes,
the neighbors have sorted you out. And, you know, so that's why, you know, we just need to go back to the community system. All these senators that we're talking about, earning so much money, how much impact are they making in their own community? Except create unnecessary guards around them, you know, have bodyguards misbehave on the road because they're on the convoy. And they're getting so much money. I believe that when they put that structure in place at that time, maybe it was to encourage them so that they will be able to think properly and take a good decision for this nation. But obviously, you know, that's why people now kill, because there's always another side to everything. When you increase the wage, if, for instance, LASMA stops you, if the penalty for not using seatbelt is 1,000, be sure that the ability to generate 1,000 in a lot of places with government quarters is a lot, because the policeman should be thinking, how much bribe do I want to? Even you think, how much bribe do I want to pay? Let me just pay the 1,000 to the coffers of the government. But you see, you make it 20,000. So you have increased the corruption opportunity now. And so when they stop you, because you are now thinking, 20,000, I've committed this offense, 20,000. Okay, Oga, take 5,000. You have just increased, you know, and that's why the revenues are not, that's why they put you in charge of revenues. You think it's to make money. You start building houses, you know, diverting, you know, government funds. Those are where the problems have come from, and it can stop. It's just a decision, and to say that nobody is above the law.
So where's the rule of law in all of this? If somebody commits an offense, the rule of law is mandatory. It's mandated on that person to be called to book, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So, you're
now,
a lawyer.
Of course, the point is, if there's no environment of rule of law where it's not protected,
okay,
and that's what we see with the political class. I mean, a certain group of people, let me take it from where she stopped, and she mentioned something about being in traffic. I mean, we're all in traffic driving, and some big man from some place with his convoy and just comes and asks everybody to make way for them, and nobody questions that. Nobody says anything about it until we get to that point where we put merit over favoritism and not where you come from, but your ability to deliver. For example, years ago, there was this story about when CBN wanted to recruit, or NNPC was going to recruit, and the names on the list of those that were going to be recruited were names of politicians, children of politicians, and those that
may not be qualified.
We may not be qualified. I mean, at the end of the day, and they are Nigerians, young Nigerians, who can do as well, and who can do the job, if not better, and they are not given such opportunities. And what do we have? It creates that environment of frustration, and then the young Nigerians want to take such skills abroad, and we lose human capital daily. Human capital is being filtered away to the rest of the world every day.
True.
Okay, so because I'm being asked to round off now, that bothers me, but we're going to pick it up from where we stop next week. 30 seconds, message for Nigeria at 59. Barrister?
Let there be an environment of equality. Let people be held accountable, and let everyone be equal before the law.
Madam, Mr. Adekoya.
Okay, Nigeria of tomorrow starts today. Let's be leaders in our own homes, right with you. Let leadership start with you. Thank you.
Okay, and for me, I will just tell you, I'm facing my camera so that I can tell it to your face that this country belongs to you and I. And because of that, the role you must play, therefore, is Be your brother's keeper, but obey the rule of law. Do not destroy the fabric of oneness, unity, and progress. Because when you start doing that, believe it or not, you're asking for anarchy that you can never manage. I wish you happy 59th Independence Anniversary. I wish you a public holiday that everybody, I believe, will be at home and celebrate. But I also wish you a peaceful, great country that we all need to carry on through. And Mrs. Adekoya, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Eichie, thank you very much. And from all of us here, we say goodbye. Soni Irabor Live is another date. And next week, Nigeria's image abroad is beginning to destroy Nigerians. Please watch out, because we're going to pick on that, and it's going to be a very serious discussion. Goodbye now. Happy Independence.